So this morning we've got a Mayfair Evolution 8 coming in. This one is presenting itself with juddering when driving. Now this is usually attributed to something with the motor. It can be a few things. It can be a failed motor. It could be carbon brushes. It can even be the throttle. So today I'm going to be going through some fault diagnosis just to see if we can work out what's going wrong. Now, before we dive into any deep diagnostics, the thing I'm going to check first is just the motor carbon brushes. If these are worn or if they're damaged, then potentially what we can see is that juddering effect. So to get to these, you've just got these little motor caps or motor brush caps here. We just undo these. Get a slightly smaller screwdriver. Open these up. And sometimes you just have to give the carbon brushes a little bit of a nudge. If they're properly wedged in there, that can sometimes be a sign that they've been burning out. Oh, so yeah, as you can see, this particular carbon brush is heavily worn, so that may be our issue. So just to show you the comparison, this one is the worn carbon brush that we've just taken out this motor. Now, I know that this particular customer uses their scooter on a daily basis to do probably about 5 or 6 miles. And these are a wearing part, so it's not unusual to see them worn. Whereas this one has got plenty of length on it. It's a brand new brush. So we're going to install these and see how the motor runs. Before we install the new carbon brushes, it's always good practice just to blow out all the crap that could have built up in the motor. As you can see, quite a bit came out. And we do the same from the other side. I've got to be honest, that was a little bit more than I'd like to see, so perhaps there's something else going on, but we'll install these new carbon brushes and see how we get on. So we have installed the new carbon brushes and the motor seems to be pulling strong. It is a little bit noisy, but what I'm going to do now is quickly just check the running current of that motor. So typically when it gets going, it'll draw quite a significant current, but then once it's no longer running, it should be somewhere between 4 and 5 amps, I would have thought. And as you can see, I've got a nice little diagnostic tool here. This plugs directly into the scooter and reads from this little controller, the live sort of readings that we're getting. So just pulling this now, hopefully we can see it'll jump up and then it should settle down somewhere between 4 and 5 amps, which we seem to be getting. Now, that's all well and good if you've got one of these tools. And I realise not everyone does. If you haven't, you can simply check this by getting a clamp meter and putting it around your main battery lead, making sure that you've got it just around one of the positive terminals, and then also just running that current there through the clamp meter. That should, again, give you that reading that we're looking for. So now that we've replaced the carbon brushes, I've just got this scooter out on test. So far, it's running nice and smooth, so we're going to throw it up some hills and put it under some strain. On the running current, under load, we're getting currently about 32 amps, but I am on a slight increase. Okay, that's settling down now to about 25 amps. So we're not drawing too much current. So what we're going to do is throw it up a hill and see how it performs. So as you can see, we're going to take it up a nice big hill now. I've got it in 8 mile/hour mode. I'll just tuck into the left-hand side to make sure there's no cars coming. The road is nice and quiet. It is still fairly early doors. It's not even 7:30 yet. We are slowing down a little bit on the hill, but that's to be expected. It is quite steep. But in actual fact, it's pulling like a train. As you can see, the voltage has just gone down on the battery reading. I expect that to go back up in a second once we get down on a flat. I also don't know what the charge was like on this scooter before bringing it out.
So it could have not been fully charged, and I suspect it wasn't, because we actually collected it from a cafe rather than the customer's house. As you can see, on the straight, this scooter is absolutely pulling like a train. And we're leveling out now. And the motor running current on this straight going downhill is approximately 10 amps. So we're not drawing too much current, and it's running nice and smooth. Now, it's always important to kind of make sure we diagnose correctly. It would have been very easy for somebody that wasn't looking for the right thing to simply think the motor had died. And that would have been a very expensive repair, as opposed to a few quid for some carbon brushes. So we've saved the customer, in the grand scheme of things, quite a large sum of money. And as I say, there are many people out there that would have quite happily just sold a brand new motor, and that would have been going into the hundreds of pounds. I do think it's important to road test once we have done any sort of major changes to the scooter. There's a couple of reasons for that. So we can test it on the bench, obviously, but you don't fully get to feel how the scooter's reacting on a workbench, and it helps us identify maybe any other problems. Luckily for us, in this case, there aren't any. It is just a simple carbon brush change, and we'll get it back up and running. So now we're heading back to the workshop. This scooter will be cleaned up, put back together properly, and returned to the customer for many more happy miles.